Okay, right, this is go. Yeah, the truth is, you actually cannot see much of the whites of the eyes sometimes. Yeah, if you look at her eyes, yeah, you cannot see below the pupil. You can't see white below and you can't see above. So that's not right. What I can actually see there are these two little curved triangles. Yeah, so I focus on them first of all, really not thinking about the iris or the pupil, just thinking about those curved shapes. And I make comparisons in my head. The one on the left there, that white shape on the left, looks like a shark's tooth to me. And that's what I start drawing. So I'm really, and this is what I encourage people to do, really think of less about it being an eye and more about it being like a collection of shapes. Okay. This is where I actually start having a go at doing it. Probably doing it a bit darker, I expect. Now the good thing about drawing looking at a computer screen is that you can really zoom in with a tablet screen or maybe with a laptop, and you can really observe those shapes close up that I'm hoping you to see. Okay, so I do one, then I start thinking about placing the other one on the right. Okay, just doing the little line that goes underneath. Have a good look at. Yeah, looking at the fact there, I put an arrow there because you cannot see, you can almost see the bottom of that iris, but not really. Yeah, so there's the other side, the beginning of the one side of the other triangle. Yeah, I'm talking about that sharp pointed shape over there. Maybe I'm going to make a little bit of a correction there, see? So it really is, I mean, a good portrait, if you can look at a portrait drawn, you will, and you think, oh, that's clearly, it's a portrait of that person. It's because the person has really noticed those shapes. And the shapes in everybody's eyes are different, yeah? Generally the same. But when you look at somebody as well, it depends on the expression, because if somebody is smiling, what tends to happen is your eyes get a little bit thinner. So these triangles that I'm noticing here become very, very thin. Now I'm drawing the one on the right here, and something I've spoken to 8 Blasco this morning is I often see this corner of an eye, the corner that is nearest the nose, as looking a little bit like a swan's beak, because it sort of changes direction and it's got like a rounded sort of end to it. It hasn't got a pointy end to it. It sort of like goes round a corner. Okay. That's it. Those little fleshy parts, yeah, they actually sort of make you aware of where the eye actually finishes, because the eyeball, as we call it in English, the globo, the ojo, it is actually like a ball. And those little bits in the corner, that actually defines where the edges of that ball are. Okay, this is where I think I'm looking at the shading and the iris there. I mean, the Spanish eyes, very, very dark eyes, it's almost impossible to make a distinction between the center and the stuff around it, the iris around it. What you've got to try to do is to place that second circle right in the middle of the other one. Yeah, and pay attention to how it almost blends in with the other one. You can't actually see, it doesn't stand out so much. It might do with a clear person's eye. If you're drawing somebody with blue eyes, that is much more obvious. But even so, shadows are being made by the eyelid on top of it. There we go, scribbling away with the app here. And as you can see, on the outside, it's almost as dark as in her eye, right down to the bottom. And that's probably still not enough contrast. There you go, just adding a bit more. So it's there, but it's almost hard to distinguish. I'll be doing this with you in the lessons. When you have your lesson this week, I'll be doing a demo online, so I can go through this a little bit quicker. My apologies for having to narrate over this video again. It's really frustrating to record something, to edit it, to upload it, and then something has gone wrong with it. So I'm using Videoleap this time to see if you can hear what I'm saying. Okay. What do I do next? One thing to, I don't know if I'm going to do it here, but listen to what I say to you in the lesson about drawing eyelashes. Oh, here I'm thinking about the reflection. Sometimes people tend to do the little white parts in an eye. Automatically, they do another circle. That's very manga. That's very comic style. Here I sort of correct it a little bit, I think. Yeah, don't assume that it is round. I see that shape in her eye there as a bit of a curved rectangle, and that's probably because there's a window being reflected. So again, it's all a question of shapes. And here I'm talking about the white of the eye not actually being very white, because you look at the white of the app screen and look at the white in the photo. I don't think the white of her eye is totally pure white. And that's because the eyelid itself, as I'm demonstrating here, is making a shadow on the top of the eyeball. Yeah, I'm demonstrating that, the idea of, look, white inside, you can see there's a slight difference. It's not pure white, so it's a little bit grey. So this is where I get the grey pencil, put the opacity down. I think sometimes doing this in your drawing, just making immediately beneath the eyelid, either side of the iris, like that, just gives the sensation that you are dealing with a rounded object, like a ball. Yeah, it's not a flat thing. If it's just flat white from top to bottom, then it feels less like a spherical object, which is something you learned to draw last year. Okay, now the aim of the exercise for this week is to actually draw a pair of eyes. So don't just think about it being one, and don't assume actually that the eyes are symmetrical. Here I'm just adding two because I've realised that the eye goes up a little bit higher in the photo than it does on my drawing. Now I recommend that you do this probably with a nice soft pencil. You might start off with a normal HB pencil, but if you've got any 2Bs or 4Bs to do your shading to get it nice and dark, and by doing it with pencil you can make corrections to the shapes. Okay. I'm going to rub up my example over there. Yeah, I think what I might start doing here, if I remember rightly, is demonstrating how it might be, using a line, a very light line, to help you gauge the distance between the two eyes, because you're doing two. Yeah, I don't want you to draw anything else. Don't worry about noses. I'm going to talk to you about noses next week. Yeah, just thinking about the eyes and the eyebrows. Listen, I'm drawing the eyes there. Can you see that I'm using pencil strokes that kind of go in the direction that eyebrows are growing or going out? I think that's quite important. If you do eyebrows in any direction, like I've just done there, that scribble, or you do them too solid looking, because I don't think it's got a really clearly defined sharp edge, the eyebrows. I mean, I can clearly see a shape, but they're a little bit soft at the edge. They're not totally sharp. I'm doing it with individual pencil strokes rather than drawing a sort of polygon and then just colouring it in black. That sometimes can look a little bit harsh. Okay, so this week's lesson is just about drawing a pair of eyes of a famous person or yourself. If you want to do a selfie, yeah, make sure you've got a nice strong, I mean, here's a strong sense of contrast in this photo. You can see that light was coming from the left. Yeah, if you want to do that, You can do. You could get somebody to take a picture of you, or you do your selfie using the timer on your phone. Yeah, and then you try to draw it. Okay, good luck with what you do. I look forward to seeing what you produce. Bye for now.